The blade of suburbia. The moment I saw the glint of steel against my daughter's neck, my world stopped. Time fractured into sharp, jagged pieces. The faint whimper from Lily's trembling lips. The late afternoon sun casting cruel shadows across Margaret's pristine porch. The faint rustle of her cardigan in the breeze. My heart didn't just race, it shattered. Lily, my 11-year-old daughter, stood rigid, her small hands gripping her walker, her eyes wide with terror. Margaret, our neighbor and a respected member of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, leaned in close, her voice a venomous hiss. "Stop crying," she snarled, "or I'll make you stop." I don't know how I moved. My legs felt like lead, but I was running, screaming Lily's name until my throat burned. Margaret didn't flinch. She turned her head slowly, her eyes cold and hollow, as if I were the one intruding. Across the street, Mr. Thompson, our elderly neighbor, charged forward, bellowing, "Drop it!" His voice snapped her out of whatever trance she was in. The knife clattered to the porch, and Lily collapsed into my arms, shaking so violently I could barely hold her. "You're safe," I whispered, over and over, though the words felt like lies. The police arrived minutes later, but the damage was done. My disabled daughter had been threatened with a knife by a woman we'd once trusted, right in the heart of our idyllic suburban neighborhood. How did it come to this? To understand, you have to go back to the beginning when a smile hit a storm. We moved to Willow Creek in the spring of 2023, chasing a fresh start. After years of cramped apartments with flickering lights and landlords who scoffed at Lily's accessibility needs, our new townhouse felt like a miracle. It had a gentle ramp to the front door, wide hallways for Lily's walker, and a quiet cul-de-sac where kids played without staring. Lily, small for her age but with a spirit that could light up a room, deserved this. She turned every pebble into a story, every cloud into a dream. Her cerebral palsy never dimmed her imagination, though it made her feel the world's judgments deeply. At Willow Creek, I dared to hope we'd found a place where she could just be a kid. Margaret introduced herself on our first day, a vision of suburban perfection with her lemon bars and practiced smile. "It's so nice to have new families," she said, crouching to compliment Lily's sparkly sneakers. I let my guard down, grateful for her warmth. She was more than a neighbor, she was the HOA's secretary, always organizing brunches or delivering neatly typed rulebooks. She brought our mail, offered gardening tips, and invited us to a welcome barbecue. Lily liked her, and that made me feel safe. But safety, I'd learned, was an illusion. The comments started small. "That walker might scuff the sidewalk," Margaret said lightly one day, her smile tight. Or, "Lily's music box is sweet, but it might bother the neighbors." Each remark was wrapped in politeness, but they piled up. She'd linger by her mailbox, watching us, her eyes unreadable. Once, I caught her staring through our window as Lily played. When I waved, she startled and retreated. I told myself she was just nosy, every neighborhood has one. But Lily noticed too. "Why does Miss Margaret always look mad?" she asked one night. I didn't have an answer. The shift was gradual, like a shadow creeping across a lawn. Margaret's suggestions turned into instructions. "The HOA prefers clean sidewalks," she said when Lily drew chalk flowers. "Lily's crying might upset the kids," she remarked after a meltdown. I bit my tongue, not wanting conflict, but the pressure grew. Then came the HOA letters. The first accused us of noise disturbances, citing Lily's emotional outbursts. I was stunned. Lily's meltdowns were rare, private, and hardly loud. The HOA wouldn't name the complainant, but I knew. Margaret's window faced our porch, and she was always there, watching. Lily changed. She stopped playing outside, afraid Margaret would get mad. Her laughter faded. She'd peek through curtains, whispering, "Is she watching?" I reassured her, but my unease grew. Neighbors grew distant. Lily's friend Emma stopped visiting after her mom had a long chat with Margaret. Another HOA letter arrived, this one warning of an unsafe environment due to Lily's behavior. It was absurd. Lily was the vulnerable one. When I called the HOA, they stonewalled me. "Resolve it civilly," they said, as if civility applied to a campaign against my child. Margaret's hostility escalated. One morning, she knelt by Lily during a tearful moment, gripping her shoulder. "Big girls don't cry in public," she said sharply. Lily froze, pale with fear. I stepped between them, my voice firm. "Don't speak to my daughter like that." Margaret's smile didn't falter, but her eyes were ice. The next day, a typed note appeared on our door. Crying kids don't belong here. My blood ran cold. The HOA dismissed it as unverifiable. Then, one night, 3 loud bangs shook our shared wall as Lily sobbed over spilled paint. Another note followed. Control your child. We want peace. I documented everything: notes, emails, timestamps. Lily stopped sleeping, flinching at every sound. She packed her stuffed animals, whispering, "In case we have to leave." My heart broke. Then her walker was found tipped over, reeking of bleach. The police took a report, but did nothing. I installed locks, carried pepper spray, and stayed up watching the windows. The HOA's final letter threatened eviction, citing ongoing disruptions. I was furious but exhausted. Margaret wasn't just cruel, she was dangerous, and no one would stop her. It was a Tuesday, a quick errand for milk. Lily, too scared to leave, stayed home with locked doors and her favorite show. "I'll be fast," I promised. I was gone for 17 minutes. When I returned, the door was open. My stomach dropped. "Lily!" I screamed, racing inside. Her sketchpad lay abandoned, the TV still on. A muffled cry led me outside, and there, on Margaret's porch, was my worst nightmare. Lily stood trembling, her walker unsteady, as Margaret held a kitchen knife to her neck. "Stop crying," she hissed, "or else." I ran, screaming, my voice raw. Margaret's gaze was blank, like Lily wasn't human. I was feet away when Mr. Thompson shouted, "Drop it," wielding a shovel. Margaret blinked, the knife fell, and I caught Lily as she collapsed, sobbing. She said I was bad. Police swarmed in, cuffing Margaret as she muttered about too much noise. EMTs checked lino cuts, but her heart raced, and her eyes were vacant. At the hospital, they called it an acute stress reaction. She didn't speak for days. Margaret was charged with assault, child endangerment, and unlawful restraint. Her lawyer claimed mental instability, but we hired Ellen Carter, a civil rights attorney. She uncovered Margaret's history, harassment complaints from another HOA, a dismissed restraining order, all buried. Ellen sued Margaret for assault and discrimination, and the HOA for negligence. Mr. Thompson's doorbell footage, grainy but damning, showed the knife, Lily's terror, my desperate run. The media exploded. Headlines screamed, "HOA ignores mother's pleas until knife threat." Hashtags like "Justice for Lily" trended. The community reeled. Margaret was convicted, sentenced to 7 years in a psychiatric facility, and barred from contact with us forever. The HOA settled, paying a hefty fine, issuing an apology, and overhauling its policies. Their president resigned. Neighbors, once silent, brought apologies and flowers, admitting they'd feared Margaret's influence. We didn't stay. Once Lily began drawing again bright sunflowers, not shadows, we moved to a rural home, free of HOAs. It's not perfect, but it's ours. Healing came slowly. One rainy day, Lily spoke, her voice fragile. "Are sunflowers strong?" she asked. Tears fell as I nodded. "The strongest." "She's painting now, singing softly, her spirit returning. The scars remain, she startles at loud noises, but she's blooming. I still carry guilt, but I've learned silence enables cruelty." Speaking out saved us. This wasn't just about a knife. It was about ignored warnings, systems that protect the powerful, and a child who paid the price. If this story moves you, don't stop here. Share it. Ask your HOA how they protect vulnerable families. Speak up when you see injustice, even if it's uncomfortable. To parents fighting alone, you're not invisible. To kids like Lily, you belong. And to the Margarets of the world, we're not afraid anymore. What do you think? Should silence ever be an option when you see injustice? How would you handle a neighbor like Margaret? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stand on confronting violence and unfairness in our communities. Let's keep this conversation alive.